I don't know which car company will win the race for autonomous driving. Elon Musk thinks that Tesla's going to win because he says, Tesla has more driving data, like real data. Many of the other car companies use simulated data, for training their driving AI. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this race. But I've spent enough time in Washington over the past 8 years or so that here's what I do know. At some point, one of the car companies, I don't know which one, at some point, one of them will cross the regulatory threshold, level 5. And it will become legal to drive that vehicle anywhere in the United States with your hands off the wheel. Now, when that happens, for at least the first few years, the cars will still ship with a steering wheel and a brake accelerator. And when people are driving, let's say they tell their car, I want to go from this point A to point B, and the car's going. This is the most important part. The car's driving by itself, but for whatever reason, the human sitting in the car decides they want to slow down. They hit the brake. Or they want to turn left here. They grab the steering wheel and they turn. Any time a driver touches the car, it's giving the car feedback. And the car said, I thought, when the light turned yellow, I thought you wanted to accelerate through the intersection, but you stepped on the brake and told me that you want to stop. Or whatever it is. And so now you have an autonomous car driving with everybody who's sitting in there giving it feedback. And so it's learning. It's getting better and better. Now, 6 months, 12 months, maybe 24 months later, the second car company will come out and have a car that passes the regulatory hurdles. Now there's a second car company that's allowed to sell autonomous cars in the United States. But the first car company has already been out for 2 years. And over those 2 years, the AI has gotten better and better. Which drivers in America are going to put up their hand and choose to drive with the second best AI? Remember, the marginal cost of software is 0. So it doesn't cost any more to drive with the best AI. Just like it doesn't cost any more to do search on Google than it does on Bing or one of the other services. And that's why when you open the newspaper and you read about so much capital being invested into AI, like pouring in, and you look at the numbers and you think, is this like an Alan Greenspan irrational exuberance, that there is a bubble, a stock market bubble around AI? Maybe there is. But there's a good reason why it's not. And that's because the prize for getting there first in AI is so big. And that's because of the feedback loop. That whoever wins in each market, it becomes very hard for others to catch up. So I'm spending quite a bit of time right now in healthcare. In healthcare, diagnosis is a prediction problem. So when you feel sick, something's wrong, you go to see the doctor, they look at your symptoms and then they make a diagnosis, a prediction. What do they think is wrong? Now, when you get an AI and you train an AI to take in visual data, blood sample data, all the data, X-ray data, interview data, and then make a prediction, and it gets better and better until you have one diagnostic AI that is better than the rest. Which doctors, which patients are going to want to use the second best diagnosis tool? Nobody. And you can see how this just permeates, whether it's in healthcare, insurance, or you name it. And so in the opening remarks, when Professor Ramalt talked about risk and the landscape, we're dealing with a technology that for the first time in human history can learn. And that can lead to an extreme concentration of power. And I think that's what makes this technology so unique.